this military, this soldier, me, will never turn our back on that Constitution.
Well, General Mark Milley, the top U.S. general under Donald Trump, had his retirement today, and it's a good time to remember what Donald Trump asked him to do, as Donald Trump is asking us to reelect him. Milley was quite forthright about what he did at the time, but he also, in his retirement speech, took a strong shot at Donald Trump. I'm going to get to that. There are protesters outside of the White House. Shocker, there's never protesters in a democracy. More against a guy who's incompetent, stupid, fat, idiotic, slobby. I can go on. I loathe this man, the orange demon. Donald Trump went to him as they protested outside the White House, and he said, quote, crack skulls. That's right. Quote, beat the out of them. Unquote. And finally, just shoot them.
I said the crowd is unarmed. There are lots of women and children down there. All they want is food, for God's sake.
As you were, Richard. Proceed with Plan Alpha. All rioters must be eliminated.
The hell with you. I will not fire on helpless people. Abort missions. We return back to base.
Lieutenant Sanders, do you copy?
Affirmative.
Take command, detain Richard, and proceed as ordered.
Yes, the constitutionally, let's put it in that, elected President of the United States, with the help of the unconstitutionally elected Vladimir Putin, wanted our top general to shoot into a crowd of protesters. You see these kinds of things in movies like Commando, or dictatorships, or, you know, well, communist and fascist dictatorships.
Good evening. We all knew it couldn't go on forever, but no one thought it would come to this. A brutal massacre of Chinese students and other protesters by the Chinese army. The death count goes on tonight, and it is at least in the hundreds. It may go as high as 1,000 or more, and the fighting is not yet over.
That's not how democracies work. We don't shoot people. We have this weird First Amendment thing, right to petition your government and right to assembly and speech. You know, the right's always screaming and yelling about that because online they can't put up, you know, whatever racist crap garble they want to put up. But it's funny how they don't seem to mind when Trump wants to shoot people for exercising their First Amendment rights. The general, of course, refused, and that made him a villain of Donald Trump's, and he attacked Trump afterwards. We now know also Milley had to call China after the election in 2020 to reassure them that they shouldn't go on nuclear alert because what they were seeing was worrying them that there would be a coup here. Milley did a lot to protect our democracy, and I'm not saying he's perfect, and I don't know his whole record, but man, when it comes to Donald Trump, you. So, his retirement speech, which we'll play you just a small clip of, the key point he made is, we don't take an oath to a king or a tyrant. That generals serve our Constitution as he did. And it just, again, reminds me of others, of those who I disagree with vehemently on all sorts of things, but are standing up and speaking out. There's numerous former members of the national security apparatus, like former General Hayden, who I disagree with on a whole lot of things, and others like that. But obviously Republicans are Kinzingers and Liz Cheney, the more shocking one of all, who seems to be going on a tour to make sure that Donald Trump loses.
Well, he won't support and uphold the Constitution. We've already seen what happened. He is the only president in American history who attempted to overturn an election, who attempted to seize power, to stay in power after he had lost. And the reason that we didn't have a much more serious crisis was because there were people around him who stopped him, because there were people around the country, state officials, for example, who stopped him, who did not yield to the pressure that he put on them to change votes from Biden to Trump. We won't have that safeguard again.
But let's play you this clip by Mark Milley.
We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator.
And there you have it from his point of view. And he's correct. And I think he's giving you a little hint about who we shouldn't fucking elect this November if we want to retain our republic. So whether you have the ability to call, to write, to knock on doors, to give money, whatever it is you can do to ensure our democracy is protected, and this sort of Jabba-esque orange cretin doesn't end up back in the White House, let's make sure we do that.